Hi, Linda Bowen here from stampingwithlinda.com, your cardiologist since 1997. And tonight is my first Facebook Live. I'm so excited. I know it takes a few minutes for people to get on, but as you get on, make sure you give me a thumbs up or tell me where you're from. Kind of exciting. I have been doing YouTube videos since 2009, but all you see is my fingers. And if I don't like the thing I'm doing, I cannot show it. So, but with live, it's totally different. So bear with me. I hope my camera works well and everything looks good. I'm seeing that I've got 4 people online, 6 people online. That's very exciting. So give me a shout out where you're from. Jody is here with me in the stamp studio, and she is watching the live feeds for me because, oh, I'm seeing thumbs up. That makes me feel so exciting. But tonight I am excited to share my stamp set that I helped create as part of my $1 Million Achievement. This is the half full set, and it is in the Christmas catalog. Now, the Christmas catalog goes live tomorrow. That's why I decided to go ahead and post tonight Facebook Live, and to show you, I'm going to show you 4 cards that I have done with this set and a wine bottle cover. I've been showing that on my Facebook feed, so I hope you've seen that. But back to the holiday catalog. If you do not have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, or if you have not received this catalog and you would like it, please make sure that you let me know, and I will get you a copy out in the mail. So I'm seeing there's quite a few of you on. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my set. I worked with Kathy Pitt, which is a concept artist with Stampin' Up!, to help design the set. It was in makings for a long time. I had thought about going to wineries and doing stamp classes. So if you're in the Ohio area, I hope to be in wineries in the local area here soon doing classes. I also will be doing them here in my stamp studio. But something about the set that I want to tell you about, and that is the vintage date on the wine bottle. That was the anniversary date of Jay and my wedding anniversary. So when you're using that set, you'll just, I see all the hearts flying, so thank you for that. It's just a little touch of him within this set. So, I'm seeing that I'm getting people from all over the United States. I'm seeing Arizona and Minnesota, and that makes me very exciting. So anyways, I think I'm going to go ahead and get stamping. I do have to flip the camera. And so that's going to be a little bit scary. Remember, I have not done this before. I have practiced a little bit, but pretty new to me. Something that's going to happen tonight. I am going to have a YouTube, or excuse me, a hostess code. Anybody that spends $30 or more in my online store with that hostess code for the month of September, well, I will send them a PDF tutorial. I think it's like 17 pages of the projects that I'm going to do tonight. So if you're interested in that, I do have the hostess code. But the main event tonight is I am going to be giving away 4 of these stamp sets, excuse me, 3 of these stamp sets, 3 of these stamp sets autographed to lucky winners tonight. The drawing is actually going to be tomorrow night. So anybody that leaves a comment on my page, they will receive 1 ticket, and it'll be in the drawing for tomorrow night. If you share the link for this on your Facebook page, you will get 3 tickets. So make sure you tell me that you have shared that link, and I will add your name for 3 entries. At 8 o'clock tomorrow night, I will go live again and we'll draw that. Now, you will not need to be present tomorrow night because I will keep that taping so that you can see who the winners are. So again, right now, I'm going to flip that camera around and we're going to get stamping. So here goes. So there you are seeing that hostess code. And again, that is with my online store. I am seeing that maybe my camera needs to be moved up here a little bit. Again, learning curve, but we've got it. Okay, so the first card I'm going to show you is actually a gift card holder. It looks like so, and then it flips up and your gift card goes right here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of techniques that I used on the front of this card. So I'm going to bring in a piece of Whisper White cardstock. Again, I will have the tutorial that you guys will be able to get. Let me see if I can get here better in the light. Maybe I'm going to just stand up and try to stamp this way. This setup is so different from the camera that I use for my YouTube videos. So a little bit interesting using that. So I've just stamped that wine glass. I'm going to take my verse. I'm using the Fresh Fig. I started to talk about the tutorial. So the tutorial with all the measurements will be yours if you place a $30 order in my online store anytime during the month of September. And that hostess code is right up there. So I've got my wine glass stamped, and I'm just going to flip my camera a little bit here so I can see it better. What I have done is I've taken a window sheet and I have taken that bottle of wine, and because the wine has a verse on it, I don't always want a bottle of wine with the verse on it. So I stamped it on a piece of window sheet. I used StazOn ink, and then I cut it out with an X-Acto knife. Now I am going to bring in my silicone mat, and I am going to place that masking right over the glass. Going to bring in my embossing paste, and I'm just going to take some of that embossing paste. You can tape your masking down if you want, to make sure that it doesn't move on you, but you want it nice and smooth. I'm going to pick that up, and I'm going to instantly wipe my masking and my palette knife, because this dries very quickly. And I'm going to just set that aside while I make the rest of my card, and it should be dry by the time I get done with it. So I've got that done. I'm going to pull that off. I don't know how well you can see that paste on the video. Jody is watching the comments for me, and if there is a comment that's something I don't make clear, she hopefully will holler at me and I'll answer it. Otherwise, I will be answering it after the video post. Now what I have is fine tip glue pen. I have put the Rich Razzleberry refill in this, and if you've used the fine tip glue pen before, you know that after a while it may get a little bit thick. And so what I have done is I have put a couple of drops of fill for your classic ink pad in here, and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to fill my glass with wine. So this makes it look nice and liquid, like there really is wine in there. You don't want to shake it and get air bubbles in it. If you do, you want to pop them. Now you can, I'm going to set this aside and hopefully it'll dry in the time. And I apologize for my dog. I knew sure as shooting that as soon as I started taping, she would start barking. So obviously there is a deer in my yard or something tonight. So bear with Sweetie as she does her little barking. So I'm going to set that aside and let that dry. And Jody's motioning that maybe my camera needs to be moved a little bit. Now she's giving me a thumbs up, so that's cool. I see Lisa White saying hi to Sweetie. Sweetie's saying hi to you. The fine tip glue pen does take a while to dry. I have found that you can take the embossing gun and use that to dry it, but you just need to be careful and dry slowly. But and you also want to make sure that you put your tip back in there so that it doesn't dry out. But that way you can color, and you'll see how I color with the different inks. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in a piece of cardstock. This measures 4 1/4 by 11. This is actually the Fresh Fig, and I am going to score it at the 2-inch mark and the 7 1/2. So I'm going to kind of pull that out and move it over to the 7 1/2, and that is going to give me my card base for my card. So I've got this here. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of white, because I've already got my trimmer out here. This measures 3 3/4 by 7, and I am going to score it at 1 3/4 and at 6 1/2. And 6 1/2 is that little mark right inside your trimmer there. So I've got this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in. I'm going to grab the Fresh Fig. I am going to use a stamp. This actually comes from another stamp set. I believe it's Mixed Drinks, and it says, "Friends don't let friends wine alone." And so because this is photopolymer, I'm going to use my paper piercing mat, and I'm going to stamp that image right there. I'm also then going to bring in my tear and tape, and right along that 1/2 inch mark, I'm going to add some tear and tape. Going to remove that tape, and I'm going to open this up like so, and I want my biggest flap at the top, and I'm going to my tear and tape is up here. I'm going to set that at the fold, and then I'm just going to close down on it. That way it will open it up so you can see the 1/2 inch mark at the back. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my Big Shot. Now this is where it's going to get tricky, I think, because I've got to move that Big Shot in. I am going to be using my Layering Leaves embossing folder, and I want to emboss this bottom section. So just going to put that bottom section in my embossing folder, and I'm going to run that through like so. This is where the tricky part. I want to run it through my Big Shot and not hit the camera, not shake the table too much. So much to remember. And so I'm going to set my Big Shot aside and pull that back out. So I've got my image here. Going to bring in my Fresh Fig ribbon. I'm going to take my snail adhesive. I like when I use the ribbon to go ahead and put a little bit of snail right on the ribbon to hold it in place. So I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to wrap this around, get my paper snips, and tie my bow. And then I'm going to see if my piece that I used the fine tip glue on, and so I'm just going to take that, I'm going to slip that right down there, and that's where your gift card goes. I'm going to now bring in a piece of black cardstock. Again, on my PDF, I have all of the measurements for all these pieces. I'm going to lay that there. I'm going to bring in this piece and see if it's dry. And I see that it's a little bit wet, but I went ahead and planned for that. I have one that is dry, so I'm just going to set that aside. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back in that masking, and I'm just going to cover it up just like I rubbed the paste on. I'm going to grab that fat, fresh fig, and I'm just going to sponge over top. So the excess is going on that masking, and now it looks like I actually have a bottle of wine, and you can see how that has dried with that fine tip glue pen. So I'm just going to add that to the front of my card, and I've got one card done for you tonight. Hope you've enjoyed that. It does give it a really nice dimension. So there we go. I'm going to set that card aside. The next card is a Christmas card using that stamp set of mine. And I showed you this before. It is a double opening or a double fold. So it says, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, but if the white runs out, I'll drink red. And then it says Merry Christmas. So just a fun little opening. So let's go ahead and get started with that. I'm going to start with a piece of 5.5 by 6 1/4, and this is in the real red. That is the 5.5 by 6 1/4. And along the 6 1/4, I'm going to score it at 4 1/4 inches. I've got a flap like so, and then I'm going to bring in my green. This is measuring 5 1/4 by 8, and I'm going to score it at the 4 inches. And I'm going to bring back in that Big Shot. This time I'm going to use the Holly folder, and I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the other card. I'm just going to emboss one side of the card. So I've got that, and I'm going to grab my Holly folder, which I just had here. Remembering that with Stampin' Up, where it says Sizzix or Stampin' Up, that is the side that is going to emboss out. And because this card is opening in two different ways, you need to think about when you run this through the folder which side you're running it on, because the green is actually, the fold is on the right side of the card, so I needed to make sure that that was scored on the right side, and then the smaller side is where it needs to be for the red. So I need to look at my folder where the Stampin' Up is, line it up on the side, and then run that through. Hope you guys are following me okay. Jody is smiling over there, so I don't know what you're saying. Again, I'm not watching the comments. I have found that when I watch the comments, I kind of get sidetracked, kind of like in my classes when we start talking about something, I forget what I'm supposed to be talking about. So I have decided that it's best to let Jody, for the time being, to deal with that. So I've got my red and my green piece. I'm going to take my snail, and you really want to put some extra snail on this because this is going to be another card fold. So we want to put it right inside like so. I guess I need to move it up closer here. And then I have two pieces of Whisper White. These measures 2 3/4 by 3 1/4. I have two pieces of red. These measure 3 by 3 1/2, and then only one piece of the green. And this measures 3 1/4 by 3 3/4. Now I've already went ahead for time, and I have embossed the glass in the copper embossing powder, and you will notice the holly. I used that fine tip glue pen. I did one in garden green and one in real red. And then the white wine, I used the So Saffron for that. So that fine tip glue pen is just a lot of fun, not only for my wine set, but for any stamping. It also will allow you to color rhinestones, pearls, or faceted gems. You can color them to whatever color you want. So get several of those fine tip glues and just make them in the basic colors that you normally use. So here is my main card. Front of it says I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, so that will go on the front, and it gets mounted on that piece of green that's 3 1/4 by 3 3/4. And then I'm going to need to put adhesive on there. When you're putting your adhesive on, you've got to really watch that you don't get too much adhesive on so that it doesn't close your card where you don't need it to be closed. So I've got it here. Then I'm going to add this one, and what you need to do, it does not have the green around it, so you've got a little bit of playroom there, but then I just kind of lined it up like so, and look what I did. I did exactly what I wasn't supposed to. I added too much adhesive on that, so it's going to close on. Let's see if I can hide that. I can hide it behind there. You won't know that it's too much. I guess really it isn't too much because that green is bigger. So great, it hid that real well. I'm going to grab my Merry Christmas. I think I've got that stamp. Maybe I didn't bring that stamp over, but I will show you. I then put this piece of white, measures 3 3/4 by 5. I put that on the inside, and then I used the Merry Christmas from my stamp set, and I'm not seeing it right offhand, but that's okay. I can show you the finished card, and I just stamped the Merry Christmas in there. So there you go for that. So a quick and easy Christmas card in a creative fold, of course. The next card I'm going to show you is kind of just a fun and sassy card that I came up with. I did this for a swap on the incentive trip for Stampin' Up, and it's the little piggy holding a glass of wine. This was an idea that Jody came up with, and it says, "You make me happy," and a glass of wine always makes me happy. So let me show you how I did that card. I am taking a piece of crumb cake, and I am going to, this measures 5 1/2 by 7 1/2. Again, all the tutorial, by placing an order in my online store with a $30 order, you can get this tutorial, full tutorial with all the sizes for this stamp set. Also, remember your comments, you get a ticket for your comment, and that ticket will be good for a chance to win one of 3 autographed copies of my half-full set. So I've got this piece of crumb cake. Again, it's 5 1/2 by 7 1/2. I'm going to score it at 1 3/4 on both ends, like so. I'm going to set that aside. And what I did for the little piggy, I have already stamped her. And what I did was I just stamped the glasses, and you can see I did them all different. I've got several different projects I'm working on with just the glasses and just needing single glasses. And so again, I used that fine tip glue pen for that. I'm going to go in with my X-Acto knife, and I am just going to trim the little arm here of the piggy. I have colored her in with the aqua painter and the new pink It's powder pink, the new in color. So I've just got, and there goes my sweetie again. Must be lots of activity out there tonight. So anyways, I've got her arm. Just going to grab a glue dot. I have used the stitched shapes to cut that out. And then I'm just going to tuck her right underneath there. So there's her with her little glass of wine. Maybe she's barking because she hears me talking down here and wondering what's going on too. That could be. Jody's usually not here at this time of night, so it's kind of thrown her all out of whack. I have used my layering circles and cut out the scallop. So I've got that. Now I'm going to go into that card base. I have already taken 2 pieces of the rich razzleberry. They measure 1.5 by 5 1/4, and I ran it through the Big Shot with the layering leaves, and I'm just going to add that right here. And then this one right here. I've got a piece of rich razzleberry. This measures 1/2 inch by 9.5, and I'm just going to fold this up like so. Just want it to overlap kind of in the middle, so that that circle will cover it up. I'm going to grab dimensionals and just place them right on that 1/2 inch mark. Seeing lots of thumbs up going across the screen. Again, I'm not reading the comments, but I am going to see the hearts going across, and I will read all of your comments later. But there we have the little piggy with, oh, look at all the funny faces. I love that. I also want to take my stamp set, if I can find it, I'm not seeing it right offhand here. Got lots of things floating around here. I don't see it, but that's okay. What I did was I stamped in here, may your glass always be half full. So that's what I did. You could do that or leave it plain, whichever. I just think that that little piggy is just the cutest thing with his glass of wine. So there's my third card that I wanted to share with you tonight. The next card that I'm going to share with you is really not a card, and I'm not even seeing where my finished one is. So that's pretty cool. We'll just go from there. It is actually using the treat bag framelit. And I don't see it, but it's fine. We'll just go with the flow here. And what I'm going to do is I am going to use, this is another great tip. I have taken our aqua painters, and because I was coloring a lot, you know how you normally take your aqua painter and you go into your ink pad, I found that you can fill it with water and just put refill right directly in to your aqua painter. So this is from the Tuscan Vineyard stamp set. I stamped the grapes, and in order to get a nice even stamping, I stamped in a triangle. So I stamped, stamped down, stamped up, and just kept following that through, and then I went in and added some more. So I've done a lot of the coloring, but I wanted to show you how quick it is to color with your aqua painter. If you've got a lot of coloring, especially with Christmas cards coming up, this is a great way to get color really quick with that refill right in that water. I have found that once I'm done with this, just take soap and water and it'll clean right out. So I also have one with the old olive, and just going to go ahead and do those leaves. Seeing lots of comments going by, so I'm hoping that you're liking that idea with the coloring, putting your refill right in your aqua painter. I'm getting a shaking of the head of Jody, so I'm assuming that is a good thing to do. I'm now going to bring back in that Big Shot, and I'm going to bring in the treat bag dies. And again, hoping that I don't hit the camera. So far, I am very impressed with myself. I have not knocked over the camera. Some of my worst fears when I was doing this, that I was going to knock the camera over. I shouldn't probably talk about that because now I probably will end up and do that. But here are the dies for that treat bag. And I'm just going to set them down like so. And cut them out. You know, I'm thinking that maybe I need to, hopefully they'll both cut out at the same time here with just one swoop. I'm going to add that. And I see that it's not going to. Oops, I don't have all my pieces and parts. Let's start all over. I need that adapter in there to make it thick enough for the framelits. I was doing the embossing folders first. So let's go ahead. We're going to do the bigger piece first. And we're going to run that through. The camera's probably shaking a little bit because my table's shaking, and I apologize for that. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave that right on there. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to take my layering scallop and add that in there and go ahead and run that through while I've got that in there. Being difficult. I'm actually leaning over the camera and turning that, so definitely makes it a hard thing to do. So I've got my cutout, and I've got an oval cut out of the center. I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to run through the Big Shot. The last, let's just pull this off. The back side of that bag and run that through the Big Shot. Okay, we've got that done. And I am, oh, I see where I've got it. Okay, so I've got this. And Jody's looking fearlessly for that other piece, or my finished project. Have no idea where it's at, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run some adhesive along here. I could use tear and tape or fast fuse, but because of the video, I'm just going to use the snail. And you know what? I probably need to just lay this down. So right across, line it up. Right like that. And then it closes on itself like here, so just going to run some adhesive along here. And then, and I see I've got it maybe not the straightest. Let's see if we can pull this apart here. Got to be up just a little bit. Always easier when the camera's not running. There, that looks better. And then I'm just going to add some snail across here. Close it up. And you don't even know what the card's going to look like when I'm done because I can't find my finish. But here we go. This is a piece of Very Vanilla. It measures 3.5 by 6. And I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and I'm just going to score it at 1 inch. I'm going to fold it on the back side like this. I'm going to grab Happy Birthday. This Happy Birthday is from, I think, the Blossoms, Birthday Blossoms. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where it's from. And I'm going to stamp it with a wisteria, like right here. I'm going to go in because I didn't have my sample. What happens is then your gift card fits right in here, and you flip it around. Now this is going to go right in the side here, and I see this is not sticking well, so I'm going to just find my tear and tape. That's what I should have used in the beginning, but I didn't see it when I went to get it. So I'm just going to add a little bit of tear and tape there to hold that together. We'll peel that off. Now let's put that gift card in like so. It's going to go right in that treat bag. Just like so. I have already taken a stitched oval, and I am going to bring in this stamp. This stamp actually works with our tag punch, but sometimes I find that I just want the words separately. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take my marker, my Stampin' Write marker, and I'm just going to color right on the back of the stamp the words. Hope you guys are sharing this Facebook link so that you can get those tickets for a chance to get an autographed copy of Half Full Stamp Set. So this way you can do that verse and not get those lines for the tag so that it can be a greeting. And now I'm just going to add that to that oval. Hopefully I got it on straight. Pretty good. And I'm going to go back in. I'm going to go ahead and mount that into the oval of my treat bag, like so. So I'm just going to kind of push it down in there. Well, let's try this again. There we go. Why I wanted to put it in there now is I want to go ahead and color that those grapes. Again, I'm going to use that fine tip glue with the refill, and I use the Rich Razzleberry, so I'm just coloring in those grapes, and then I'm going to bring in the Garden Green. So again, I just really suggest you get in the fine tip glue and just use it for the colors that you like. Oh, and I see I don't have my green over here, but you're going to pretend like I used it and color the grapes stems and leaf with that green with the fine tip glue pen. So there's that. I would pull it out again, but it needs to dry, so I'm going to set that aside because I have one more project to share with you. I hope you've liked the projects that I've shared so far. Remember, you can get the PDF file with any order of $30 or more in my website, stampingwithlynda.com, using the hostess code for the whole month of September. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to do this wine bottle cover. And so it's kind of fun. I am not going to do the tag tonight. I did use the snowflake foil for the tag. These are in the new holiday catalog. There are several in a pack. I thought I had it listed how many are in a pack. I don't remember. I think there's 12 silver and 12 gold. What I did was I used the oval layering ovals and did a white and a black, and then I'd used the stitched oval. Excuse me, this was the layering circles that I used for the back of the snowflake. I also did a little snowflake here. This is from the All Seasons framelit collection, and it has a little faceted gem on it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through doing this wine bottle cover because it is very easy to do. I'm going to bring in my scoreboard because I find the scoreboard to work the best for me when I'm doing this. I also have the Designer Series paper. This is the pretty foil paper that's in the holiday catalog. It has the golds, the silver, and the new platinum in it. I think it's called Year of Cheer, if I remember right. Again, catalog is too new for me to actually remember that. I start remembering names about the time the catalog is no longer live. So, oh, Jody's giving me a thumbs up that it is the Years of Cheer Specialty Designer Series paper. It is only one-sided, but just very beautiful metallic look. So what we're starting with is a piece of 11 by 12 inch black cardstock, and that is the main part of your wine bottle cover. And we're going to start with the 12 inch at the top. So the 12 inches running across the top, and we are going to score at 2 inches. Whoops, I got to stay in the score line. I was at an angle and it went at an angle. So we're scoring at the 2 inch, and then we're going to come over here at the 10 inch and we're going to score at the 10 inch. Then we're going to flip it around, and now the 11 inch is across the top, and we are going to score it at 1 3/4 inches, 3 1/2, 5 1/4, 7 inches, excuse me, that should have been, yeah, that's right, 7 inches, and then 8 3/4. So basically we're going every 1 3/4 inches. So we've got 8 3/4. I was doing 8 1/2, 8 3/4, and then we're going to do 10 1/2. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to make a dot in between that 1 3/4 inches. So every 7/8 of an inch. So 7/8, we're going to make a little dimple. We're going to go over to 2 5/8, little dimple, 4 3/8, a little dimple, 6 1/8, a little dimple, 7 7/8, a little dimple, and finally at 9 5/8. Now these little dimples are where we're going to use that as a guide to cut the triangles. So we're going to go ahead and do that. First, what you want to do is let's get rid of that scoreboard. Let me find my scissors here. And what we're going to do, let me find my dimples, they're up here. So this is the top. Right along this 1/2 inch, we're just going to slice up and get rid of that little 1/2 inch piece. we're going to then cut. This is going to be our bottom flaps that go on the bottom of the wine bottle. Now we're going to go to the top where we made those dimples, and we're going to cut out again that little 1/2 inch mark right down to that first score line. Now I did score that one wrong, but what we're going to do is we're going to cut the triangle. So we're really not going to see that. So I'm just going to go to my dimple, right to the edge of the score line. So I'm going to do that all the way across. And because it curves around the bottom, or excuse me, around the top, if your cut lines are not exactly perfect, it's really not going to show because it curves around that bottle. So we're going to go ahead and, can you tell I'm shaking? I'm really not nervous. Really, I was nervous 2 days ago. 2 days ago, Jody and I practiced, and I was a basket case. She's smiling. I'm sure she was thinking she's never going to pull this off. But you know what? Facebook Live is not as bad as I thought. Once I got my face out of the picture, it's all working well. So I hope to do more Facebook Lives in the future. In fact, I've got some fun projects that I'm going to do. A lot of 3D projects you can't do on a YouTube video. I think they're easier to do on Facebook Live. But shoot me either on this or an email and let me know what's the best time for me to go Facebook Live and you be part of it, so I can give away gifts and stuff and you be part of the live event. What day of the week do you think is the best? What time of the day you like the best? Do you like mornings? Do you like afternoons? Do you like evenings? Like I said, just shoot me an email and let me know. So now we're ready for that designer series paper. So I'm going to bring that designer series paper back in. And what you are going to do is I'm going to cut it down to 7 3/4. So I'm going to move it over to 7 3/4. Remember, Jay always said, measure 3 times, cut once. Linda usually cuts 3 times and then remembers to measure. So I always laugh about that. So I cut it at 7 3/4, and now I am going to cut 6 strips that are 1.5 inches wide. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and finally 6. Now, if you line these up, so just as you cut them, like so, if you have a pattern, then they will kind of run together around your bottle. And these do kind of have a pattern to them. So now I'm going to find my snail. I am so glad that this camera only shows a small space, because if you could see the mess that I have right now all over, my stuff is just all over the place. So good that the camera's only showing partial. So now I'm just taking that designer series paper and laying it right on, and it's hiding up that score mark that I made wrong. Let me see if I'm getting this nice and even. Kind of hard to tell with the black and at the angle I'm at, but you're getting the idea. I'm going to put them all the way across. They don't take needed a heavy adhesive. I'm just using my regular snail because there's no folding with this because the score lines are on the side. But I want to give you a little tip about making your holes for your ribbon. So I've got this. Now I am going to use the tear and tape, and I'm going to do that on that 1/2 inch strip because where it's wrapping around, you want it to be strong. So I'm just going to run this down, and then I'm going to fold it up like so, so that makes it nice even for me to flap this over and stick it down. So now I've got that holder, and next what I need to do is I need to find my hole punch. Now here is a little secret that I found. When I go to do my hole punch, I want to make sure that I go far enough down so that when I tie my ribbon, that I don't pull it out. And I found that if I go through 2 at the same time, then I can just move them over like so, and they're going to line up with the next one so that they're kind of in a row. I'm going to pull that closer so my bifocals will focus in on that. But they'll be at the same level all the way across. So now I just put this over, and I'm going to have to turn it over here. And you can see I didn't cut this exactly straight. The triangles are not all the same. If you're a perfectionist, you can do that. But when you bring in the wine bottle and bring your ribbon around it, I found that if you go in through the top with your ribbon and then always go through the back. So when I'm going to go ahead, I'm not going to run it all the way around, but to give you an idea, wherever I start, I'm going to start and run it through. I'm going to get my scissors in. This ribbon that I'm using is the silver metallic ribbon, metal edge ribbon. So it works very nicely. With this paper, we've got it in gold and silver. So I'm just going to go from the top down, and then I'm just going to now go from the bottom. So always start from the bottom up, and when you move it around, bottom up. That way, when you come around this side, it'll all be even. But again, I'm not going to show you that. What I'm going to show you is how to work the bottom of your bag. And I'm going to take that wine bottle out, and I'm going to flip it this way. And what you want to do is just glue opposite corners down. So we're just going to do this and glue the opposite corners here, and then this one will go over top of this one, and finally this one over this one. And so that will give you the bottom for your wine bottle cover. And so that is all the projects that I have for you. I'm going to flip you around here. So let's see if I can do this. Oops, there's Jody. Got a little sniff of her over there working on the computer. I just want to thank you all for sharing with me and my first live event. Again, make sure you make those comments so that you will get into the drawing for the 3 sets that I'll be giving away. Again, I will be drawing them tomorrow night. You want to share this video, and I will also be posting this code over and over again on my blog if you didn't write it down. And it'll be on my blog link and telling about my PDF file. I will be sharing this YouTube live as a recording so that you can share it later, but it's just the comments made on the live event and the sharing that was done during the live event. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye. Hi, it's Linda Bowen here, and I'm just checking back in to pick the winners from last night's first Facebook Live event. And I cannot thank you guys enough. You guys like blew me out of the water. I was so overwhelmed on how many checked in. There were over 3,700 people that watched the video. There was 47 shares and over 300 different comments. So lots of people in the drawing. We covered quite a bit of area from Florida to Quebec, Canada, and from North Carolina all the way to Washington State. Just a lot of fun things going on last night, and it made me so excited that I have decided that I'm going to do this again. In fact, I've set a date in 2 weeks. 2 weeks will be, I can't do Thursday, so I'm going to have to do Wednesday night. I know some of you said Wednesday night is not a good night, but until we get this figured out, it will be September 13th in September at 8 o'clock. So you want to stay tuned for that. There was some questions asked about buying the tutorial last night because there was demonstrators on board and people from other countries, and they wanted to know if they could buy the tutorial for last night. And yes, you can. It is $9.95 to purchase the tutorial, and you can do it through PayPal. So just send me an email at jlbowen, BAUWIN, at roadrunner.com, and I will send you how you can make the payment for that. So that's kind of what's going on. I see there are a few that have joined me now. I will tape this so that everybody will know who won. And I've got everybody's name in a little sack here, and there are lots of names. And yes, there's different color tickets, only because I had tickets cut for other drawings that I've had, and there's no random reason why one color is one way and one is another. So again, this drawing is for, I'm going to draw for 3 autographed copies of my half-full stamp set. And you will want to, if your name is drawn, you need to message me your snail mail address, and I will get those sets out to you next week. So the first name that I'm going to draw for that set, I also want to thank everybody that's already placed orders. You guys have been amazing today. And so many of you bought the stamp set, even though you may have a chance to earn it an autograph copy. Many of you ordered it today, and so I really appreciate that for the first day. So the first person that is going to be a winner is, I don't know if you can read my writing or not, but it's Mona Garden, or Gordon, excuse me, names are not my strong suit. Mona used to be a club member. She lives in Mentor. So Mona, you're going to have an autograph copy coming of the half full. And so we're going to draw that second winner. And that second winner is Debbie Heath. Debbie Heath, I don't know that name offhand, but if you are Debbie Heath, send me a message with your snail mail address so that I can send you your autograph copy. I didn't make a disclosure before, but if we would pick one of these names again, we would draw another one so that we will have 3 separate winners. So far we have Mona Gordon and Debbie Heath, and the third place winner is, this is a long name, Tony Schultz Hallhan Sheldon from Florida. So if you're Tony, make sure that you send me your snail mail address so that I can get that set out to you. So again, I thank everybody for taking part in this. I do know one thing: when I do a live event next time, if I have a giveaway, I am going to have it electronically done, because it was a lot of work this afternoon writing everybody's names and all the different shares for people that shared. Like I said, there was 47 of you that shared, so really appreciate that. I am going to flip the camera around. I know the camera was not real full last time. I am working on that. I have an Android phone and I am finding that I can't do it landscape, but I will be working on it. And hopefully in 2 weeks, I'll have that figured out better. But I appreciate you being on with me the last time. Hi, Tony. Yes, you're a winner. An autographed copy is coming your way. But send me your snail mail address and I'll get that out to you. So I want to show you guys what we are going to be doing in 2 weeks. So I'm going to flip you around here. So bear with me. So this is the box that we are going to do next week, or excuse me, in 2 weeks. It is done with the Painter's Harvest, a stamp set, and it is a one-sheet wonder. So out of a 12 by 12 piece of paper, you're going to make the design for this box, and then you are going to do the note cards. Again, all from a piece of paper that you stamp and then to cut into pieces. So I hope you mark your calendar and plan on joining me on September 13th. And I'm going to bring in that hostess code again. Remember, the hostess code is good for the month of September, and you will receive that tutorial if you place at least a $30 order in my online store. If your order is $150 or more, do not use the hostess code. Get the hostess benefits yourself, and I will send you that tutorial. Again, thanks to everybody, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye. Hi everybody, Linda Bowen here from stampingwithlynda.com. Doing another Facebook Live tonight, and I hope I have lots of people joining me. Send me a thumbs up, tell me where you're from, whatever, as you come on. I know it does take a few minutes to come on. We are going to be doing this beautiful note card box tonight. It is done with the Painted Harvest bundle. And we are going to stamp a one-sheet wonder, and then I'm going to show you how to cut it to make 6 note cards. I only have 5 note cards in this box, but the one-sheet wonder will give you all the pieces for the front of this note card box, and it will also give you enough pieces for 6 note cards plus some extra pieces. So we're just going to go through that tonight. I will have this recording of the live event on my blog, stampingwithlynda.com, and also on my Facebook page after the broadcast. Oh, I see I've got some thumbs up. Oh, Edie was my first one on. Edie is a great friend of mine that I went to school with, so good to see you on with me tonight, Edie. Anybody that purchases $30 in my online store using the hostess code tonight will get a PDF file on these projects. I know some of you joining me are not from the United States and can't purchase from me, or you're a demonstrator and of course you want to purchase from yourself. So I will have that PDF file available to order. So that'll be $9.95, and I can send you a PayPal link for that. So again, we're just going to wait a little bit to get some more people on. Hi, Corey. I see you're on here with me. That's great. When I flip over tonight to do some actual stamping, I will not be watching the comments. I will go, hi, Karen. I will go back in after the broadcast and answer any questions you may have. Jody's not here with me tonight. I'm doing it solo to see how that works. I don't know if how many of you really know this or not, so I guess I'll broadcast that tonight. This winter I'm going to become a snowbird and going to be going south for the winter. And so Facebook Live, I think, will become a main event in the months to come, so that we will be able to stamp with each other online. So stay tuned for more information about that as that becomes available. But I think that that is a way for me to have classes with you all across the United States. So again, stay tuned. I hope to maybe even have some online clubs coming up with that. So again, this is being recorded, so I will put it on Facebook Live and on my blog for a link. Comments, make any comments as I'm stamping. Ontario, Canada. Hi, Mary. That's always cool to see you guys up north. But as you can tell, as I look at the comments, I cannot talk and watch comments. So I will be answering all of the questions at the end of the broadcast. So feel free to write any comments, but I will not be watching them. I'll be focusing on my stamping. So we'll go ahead and get started here in a couple more minutes as we wait for others to join us. We've got Massachusetts and Virginia, and that's always so exciting to see so many different people. Oh, hi, Lisa White, my little smiling friend. This project that we're doing tonight, we did a recent retreat, and Lisa was at the retreat, so it's cool that she's turning in for this live event, even though she knows how to make this project. So those of you that don't know about my retreats, I hold a stamping retreat, usually about 3 times a year, and it's held in North Springfield, Pennsylvania. It is totally hands-on, meaning I prepare all of the projects for you, and one of the projects that they did in the August retreat is this note card box that I'm sharing tonight. So I just kind of wanted to give you a sample of what we do at a retreat. Usually most people don't have time to do their own things at my retreats because I plan all the projects for you. The cost of my retreats are $190, and again, that includes all of your lodging and meals and your projects. Right now, the opening is open for customers until the 20th of September, and then on the 21st, demonstrators will be able to sign up for that. So if you're interested in coming to one of my retreats, make sure you head over to my blog, stampingwithlynda.com, and check that out. So let's get started. I'm going to flip on down to my stamp table. You'll notice that I have a wide view this time. Very excited about that. Took me some figuring and out, but I give a shout out to my son for helping me with that. So let's flip over to the stamp table. So here goes. And let's go ahead and pull up. This will be the hostess code that we'll be using for this broadcast. And we're just going to slide up here and we're going to look at the Painted Harvest bundle. This is a photopolymer stamp set. It has 13 stamps in it, and the bundle, it comes with the punch. Now if you purchase this bundle in my online store, it will qualify you for that $30 order and get my PDF file of tonight's projects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a piece of 12 by 12 cardstock. I'm also going to bring in my paper piercer mat. I have covered this with my grit paper, and I like to stamp with this when I am using a photopolymer set. Photopolymer is different than our red rubber stamps. Red rubber has a cushion to it, so you get really good even coverage. The photopolymer does not have that cushion. I prefer the photopolymer because I like to see where I'm stamping, but because of that cushion, we really have to watch getting an even coverage with our stamp. That's why I like to stamp on my mat. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this full sheet of 12 by 12, and I'm using the boldest sunflower. Now the Painted Harvest bundle is like a watercolored image. I'm just going to go in and fill the places up. You'll notice that I'm kind of stamping in a diamond shape. That allows a more even flow to your background paper. But the photopolymer allows me to see exactly where I'm stamping. And that Painted Harvest, like I started to say, is a watercolor look. So you're really not, you're kind of getting a dark and a light color with that. I noticed I'm getting a lot of shadowing here tonight. Let me see if I can move my lights around. Because it's darker. I just heard tonight on the news that the end of summer is coming, and that's just hard for me to believe. It just seems like it just started summer and it's already ending. So I'm going to have to work on my lights. I apologize. We've got a full screen this time, but now we have to look at that light issue. So we'll work with that for the next video. Now with the Painted Harvest, I use the bold first, and then I go in, and I see I left my stamp pad over on my table, so let me run and get that. I like to then now go in with the center for that flower. That way, when I go to, boy, I got that one off, but no mistakes in hand stamping, right? But I'm kind of putting that in the center of the flower. Helps me line up when I put the next two-step stamp on top of it. This Painted Harvest is a two-step stamping set. Two-step stamping is what got me excited about stamping 20 years ago. It's a great way to add color to your projects just from the ink pad rather than worrying about coloring in. And we know that coloring objects is not always my favorite thing. Although I have found with my $1 Million set half full, I am doing more watercoloring than I have before. So I've got my first image going on. Now I'm going to bring in the less detailed stamp, and I'm going to go in with crushed curry, and I am going to add some more color to those sunflowers. And again, by having that center in there, if I did go off a little bit around the center, I can fill in some more. So I'm going to go ahead and finish those off. This project is called a one-sheet wonder. It was designed many years ago by a demonstrator where you just stamp a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock and then you cut it apart to make usually just card fronts. But like I said, when I cut mine apart tonight, you'll also get the pieces to do the box. So I've got that. Now I need to fill in with some leaves. So I've got that. I'll go ahead and set that aside. And I'm going to bring in my leaves. Now my leaves are also, what colors am I using? I did see that up there. I'm using Daffodil Delight and Crushed Curry for my colors. For my leaves, I am going to be using Old Olive. I'm going to take that bold, solid leaf stamp, and I'm going to stamp off and then stamp down. Now I do hear that I forgot to shut off my dehumidifier, and I apologize. That humming in the background is my dehumidifier. So my stamp studio is down in my basement and my dehumidifier is down here, and I was going to shut that off tonight, but it's just a little hum, so I think I'm just not going to worry about it. When I'm stamping down here, I don't hear it, but I'm sure you guys are hearing that noise. And so another thing that hopefully my next video I will do better with the lighting and remember that dehumidifier. So we've got this. I'm going to put another leaf over here. Again, that bold stamp I've just stamped off. Now I'm going to go in with that Old Olive, but now I'm going to use the full strength of it. And I'm going to try to line up. I see that one was not really good. I'm going to go ahead and stand up. That is how I usually stamp. and that'll allow me to get more right on. And I see Gloria says she's waiting to join our retreat. I hope you can get in, Gloria. I know that there are still quite a few openings. We have until, my customers have until the 20th of September to sign up. And after that, then it'll be open to anybody to join us in the woods. I think I have been doing retreats probably close, I don't know, 10 years or so. So always a fun weekend. Now I'm going to come back in with my soft suede in the little dots from that set. I'm going to sit back down here because I don't have to line up. Now when I stamp with the dots, I don't re-ink every time. That way I've got light and dark, and I'm just going to go in and fill up those empty spots left from not having a sunflower or a leaf in that area. So it's kind of like One Sheet Wonder is like making your own designer series paper. Each one will be unique, but yet similar. This project that we're doing tonight is a perfect teacher gift. All the cards, the note cards, are thank you cards, and I know teachers can never get enough thank you cards. So this is a great little gift, and you could actually get your children to stamp this and make the note cards themselves for their teachers. I think that would be a fun gift that a teacher would really appreciate. I always wondered how many best teacher ornaments and little signs a teacher could use, where a thank you card is something that they can use over and over because they're always sending thank you cards out or thinking of you. So you could even make a box of thinking of you cards for a teacher, your mailman, the bank teller, whoever. This is a very perfect gift for that. Very inexpensive and very quick to do. So I'm almost finished with those dots. And then we'll actually do the cutting of this project. So we've got all of that done, and now we are going to cut it apart. So I'm going to go ahead and close up those ink pads and get them out of the way, because I have a tendency to put my projects right into the ink. And what I'm going to bring in is my scoreboard. I'm also going to bring in that Hostess code again for those of you that want to use that to get the PDF file for this. And what we are going to do, excuse me, I'm not going to bring the scoreboard in right now. I'm actually going to cut this One Sheet Wonder apart. I need the scoreboard when I actually do the scoring to make the note card box. So what we're going to do first is we're going to cut. So we're going to start on one side of the 12 by 12, doesn't matter which one, and we are going to cut at 4.5. So go ahead and cut. We're going to set this piece off to the side, so we've got the 4.5 cut, and we are going to cut a 3.25, 3.25. Then we're going to cut 2 half-inch pieces, and I'm just going to go off to the side. When I do anything with my personal trimmer that is under an inch, I always work from this side. So I need 2 half-inch pieces. Technically, I need 4 half-inch pieces. We're going to go ahead and do 4 of them. 2, 3, 4, and we're going to leave 2 of them over here because we're going to cut those down in a little bit. Then I'm going to cut a 2-inch piece, And this piece is an extra piece that you can use on something else. So these pieces that I just cut, plus these two, are just for my note card. Now I'm going to bring in 2 of those 1/2-inch pieces, and I'm going to cut them down. I've got the 2 of them. I'm going to cut them both at the same time at the 3 1/4 inch mark. So I'm going to just put them in there and cut them down to 3/4. Again, all those pieces that we just cut are for the note box. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this piece. This actually measures 6 inches by 12, and along the 6-inch part, I'm going to cut it at 3 inches. So I'm going to have this piece is 7 1/2 inches. We cut, that's right. We're going to cut 3, and this is 4 1/2. This is 7 1/2 inches by 12, not 6. 7 1/2 by 12. We cut at 3 inches, so we have a 3 by 12 inch and a 4 1/2 by 12 inch. We're going to take that 3 inch by 12, and we are going to cut 2 4 1/2 inch pieces. There's one, and there's another. And then we're going to have a little 3-inch piece. This is an extra piece you can use for another note card, but we've got now 2 pieces that are 3 1/2 by 4 1/2. Those will be the ones to add to our note card. Now we're going to bring in this 4 1/2 inch piece by 12, and we are going to cut it into 3-inch strips. So we're going to get, they're 4 1/2 by 3. There's 1, 2, 3 cuts. So we actually end up with 4 pieces from this, plus the 2 that we cut off the other strips. So we have 6 fronts for note cards. Again, I only did 5 note cards in my box. So let me bring my box back in so you can see it. It's got a belly band like so. I'm seeing I'm here, but I can't get your video. Go in and refresh. If you're on Facebook and can't see my video, click out of Facebook and back in, and you should be able to see the live video. But here are those pieces for the note card. Here are the note cards. I am actually not going to assemble the note cards on the live event, but because they're basically, you're just going to take those pieces and put them on your cards. And I just use the layering circles and the stitch framelits to layer on top, including the stamp set. Here's another card. Of course, I stamped my envelopes. You got to stamp your envelopes. And I just did this. I used the linen thread, again, using that punch in the stamp set. But all the background is already done with your One Sheet Wonder. So here is another card. I'm done with that. And yet another one. Again, just using the stitched framelits and the layering circles. And here's another one. I did add the classic label punch for this one. And the thinking of you words comes from the Teeny Tiny Wishes. So let's go ahead now, and I'm going to show you the sizes of the soft suede that I used for the box and my cards. Now for the cards themselves, the pieces that you cut for your note cards were the 3 inch by 4 1/2. And so the piece that you need to layer on top of that is 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. And then that is what I got for the background of that card. So we've got that. We're just going to set those a bit aside. I'm going to bring in the pieces for the note card box. This measures 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. These are the two that are 3 1/4 by 3 1/2. I have two pieces that are 3 1/4 by 4 3/4, and a piece that is 2 1/4 by 4 3/4. So let's go in here to those pieces that I did for my box, and I'm just going to layer them onto the soft suede, like so. These are the two bigger ones for the front and the back of that box. Oops, I twisted my, there we go. I love Fast Fuse, but with Fast Fuse, oops, I guess I'm out of the camera. I'm looking up here and seeing that I'm out of the cam. Fast Fuse, you need to slide down and then slide to the side. You need to check it off. If you don't check it off, it kind of winds up into itself and you have to pull that down. But I really like that Fast Fuse. It gives you a really secure adhesive. So these are my sides of my boxes, or my box. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a piece of 12 by 12 Whisper White cardstock. I see North Carolina's on here and Minnesota. So glad to see so many of you on. So there we've got the sides of our boxes. And then like I said, I'm going to bring in, whoops, is that crooked or what? I'm kind of ripping that, no problem. We'll just turn it over on the other side and redo that. I see I'm going off the camera a little bit. Let's see if I can pull this down. There we go. So that you guys can see what I'm doing. Basically, I'm just gluing those pieces on. I do need to work on my lighting, so do not know when my next Facebook Live will be. I'm sure it'll be soon. My life has been a little crazy here lately. My mom and dad were in a car accident, and I've kind of gotten behind on a lot of things. So I will be on Facebook again live soon. I just don't know exactly when that date will be, so you'll want to stay tuned for that. Make sure you like my Facebook page and you'll know when I'm on. I want to put that hostess coat up, and I'm going to bring in my trimmer, or my scoreboard, so you can watch me work with that 12 by 12 piece of paper. This is very, very easy to make that note card box. So let's get started. Along one side, I'm going to score at 2 3/8. And then I'm going to score at 3 3/8. I'm going to slide over to 8 5/8. And I'm going to score at 9 5/8. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, and I'm going to score at 3 3/4, 4 3/4, 8 1/2, and 9 1/2. And now what we need to do is you are going to have a long rectangle here. And one end is bigger and one end is smaller. And you want to cut at the top, you want to have the smallest rectangle, and you're going to go into the second score line, and we're going to cut down to the last score line. So let me just flip this around. We're going to start at the top, and we are going to cut all the way down to that last score line and across. Now I could have used my personal trimmer to cut this, I just chose to use my scissors this time. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So again, that's small rectangles at the top. You're going to go over 2 score lines. And again, I so apologize for this shadowing. When I taped before, it was daylight at this time of night. And now with the sun going down, I see I have a lot of shadowing in this room. So going to definitely need to do something about the lighting. So Jody and I'll get on that, I'm sure. And the next time we go live, hopefully that will be all cleared up. That's the great thing. If we constantly keep changing and improving, it'll make it so much better. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find my bone folder. And if I don't, I will just score myself. I want to make sure these score lines are nice and burnished to make my box. So I've got this. And up with this. So what happens now is we've got our box. It's just going to fold up like so and back on itself. And there we have our note box. So I'm just going to go in and I'm going to add tape along here. I'm going to use my Fast Fuse because I like it a lot. And you can use the tear and tape if you want. You do need something stronger than just the regular snail adhesive. Fast Fuse is stronger. Or you can use, and I'm just going to put one of those flaps over as I bring this box up and glue it together. It just kind of folds right along there. And now I'll put this flap in and adhere that tape right there. Of course it's stuck. I'm going to blow on it. I know that sounds terrible, but if you blow on your adhesive once you've put it on, it will help release it. And I see I still didn't get it completely released here. There we go. So that's what you need to make sure before you push it down, that it is square along the bottom. So there we've got it. We've got the box. Like so. So now we're just going to go into those pieces that we added the soft suede to, and we're going to put them on our box. The short ones go on the side. Let's get a short one. There we go. Aw, thanks, Jody. Jody just shot me a thing saying I'm doing a good job. She's always my best cheerleader. Can always count on her to get me out of a slump and moving forward. So here is the front of that note card box. And now we're just going to take and put the back one on here. Then we have the 2 long ones, and they are going to go on the bottom. And on the top. And then the smaller one that we cut, we're just going to put that on the flap up here. So just add those. And there we've got our note card box. Now I want to show you how I did the belly band. I'm going to bring in my 5/8 burlap trim. What is it called? 5/8 burlap ribbon. And I'm going to wrap that around, and I'm just going to snip that here. I have already taken and cut out one of those scallop circles, and I'm just going to place that right about there, and I'm going to add some Fast Fuse. I'm going to come in and wrap that burlap around. Now I want it to be snug, but I also want it to be loose enough so that it'll work back and forth. I'm going to then bring some dimensionals. I thought I brought my bigger dimensionals over. Excuse me, got a frog in my throat. Let me grab a little drink of water. No, Heather, that was not snail. That was the fast fuse that I used. Snail is not strong enough. Oh, I see Jody answered that question. She's not even here, and she's home answering the questions. Yes, that was fast fuse. What I have done is I've added those dimensionals. I would probably use the bigger dimensionals, but I see that's all I have is the smaller ones over here, so we will make do with those. And that will help secure your ribbon down, and then it'll also pop up those words for you. So here we've got, I've already went ahead and stamped the verse. It says, your kindness means so much more than you will ever know. And that is definitely a sentiment that I use a lot. So there you have the box. Again, I'm going to bring in those cards again for you so you can see them. Again, very basic because you've already stamped this and you can just decorate them however you want. I do have in my PDF the actual card pictures and what I used, but you can use that saying and the leaves for so many different looks. And again, don't forget as you're stamping to use that sunflower. This Painted Harvest stamp set is just so beautiful. Now here I just took a scrap piece of vanilla and stamped the words. This is part of that set too, and just put the leaves on it. And here is another saying for that. I'm thankful for you. Just a small piece of vanilla on top of that paper that you did, and the leaf. And I also did one with the acorns from that stamp set. So very versatile stamp set. I have seen this sunflower done in the red. And so you could actually do this as a Christmas card box. Just use 2 different shades of red and make poinsettias and do thank you cards for Christmas or thinking of you with the Christmas. So yes, Corey, I fussy cutted those acorns. There is not a punch for those. What did we do before punches and framelits? We did do a lot of fussy cutting. So once again, thanks for joining me. And if you want that PDF file, just place that online order or shoot me an email and I will send you a PayPal link if you wish to purchase it. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for all the cool comments tonight, and we'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.